Right, welcome back. As I said at the very beginning, we'll be tackling the inauguration of some of the projects, but these are not just the projects that were inaugurated during this week. There have been recently many of the infrastructural, developmental services, many projects that have been inaugurated during the past several months. We'll be speaking about that and more, and we'll be analyzing 4 years since the President assumed office in terms of economic aspect, and how do we see those years, or the accomplishment of those years. Let me welcome our distinguished guests, Dr. Ahmed Shami, Economic of Transport and Feasibility Studies expert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Engineer Hassan Shaaban, Technical and Development expert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And we start with the projects of the day, and a number of projects were inaugurated today in Al Sadat city, the industrial zone there, and of course there has been this steel company or factory, besides some other small 296 small factories there, plus another important city, technical city, that was inaugurated in Zuwail complex. How did you read the inaugurations of today?
To be honest with you, I was very impressed today with the President talking about the value, the return value, and the cost, and the shortage, how to squeeze execution time for projects. I was very impressed that he's not talking about generalities. He's talking specifics. And I really appreciated the spirit. You're not really listening to a regular president, as if he's actually made his homework. I mean, he's into the job, actually.
If you notice the presentation always of any inauguration, you find that the president is always asking about the very tiny details, as if he is aware of every tiny detail within the project, and that is very much remarkable.
Yes, I was very impressed today, being a technical person. I was very impressed that he was asking the right questions and tackling the problems, offering solutions, offering assistance, ready to finance if it is feasible, if we're going to make a good return. Generally speaking, it was not a traditional conference, what we've seen today. I was very impressed, and I like the spirit, the way he was communicating with the ministers. He was asking the right questions, and he actually added a lot of spirit to the meeting today.
Very much indeed. But you did not tell me your point of view about the factories themselves. We'll get to that. Back to you, Dr. Ahmed, and we've been seeing the inauguration of many developmental projects during the past period. How important are those developmental projects, particularly at this stage? And we're speaking about mega projects, plus in parallel always small and medium-sized ones.
Actually, I think President Sisi, he read well in the period of the Mustashar Adel Mansour, the consultant Adel Mansour. And I believe that he was reading all the crises, economic crises all over the world. And I believe because he's following up some matters, he was reading well the crisis. It was big one in 1922 in the States, United States of America. It was the biggest one till now in many centuries before. I'll give you a small example. If a crisis happen in an area, first thing that you have to move people from this area to other one. How can you move? You have to make a lot of roads, a lot of bridge to make transport easy. It's the same thing to start in this crisis in 1922. So if you remember, there was a program, for a presidential program for President Sisi. He made it from A to Z, but we don't remember what he said. Number one, he said, I'm going to change the space. I want every governorate have industrial area. I want every governorate have agriculture's area. I want every governorate have near to a river or sea to make an easy trade, whatever, international or
to interconnect.
To connect.
Yes, those the
Number
governments.
two, he decided to reform and change the most of logistic laws in Egypt, because we have law maybe it's come to more than 50 or 60 years. I want to change the environment for Egypt, because actually we are facing a multi problems accumulated a lot of years in Egypt. Number one, and we feel recently, we have overpopulation. We are 27 governorate. We have just only 6 low populations, and these 6, I would just remember, the New Valley is almost 46% from the whole space of Egypt, and the population there is just only 2,051. Do you believe that each
No, I don't.
person
No, I don't.
in this area, they have a space 168 kilometer?
But we have here, I guess, more than 20 million in Cairo, so I guess maybe people would transfer there. I don't-
Cairo and Giza, every 6,000 person just only space for 1 kilometer. So he decided to make a mega project in New Valley, 1.5 million hectares for agriculture. He started to make an airport there. He started to make a lot of roads. He make a big mega project for new Suez Canal. He make the tunnels to make a connection from east and west, because east and west in Sinai it was separate since 149 years upon digging the Suez Canal. Now East Bank and West Bank, and there is a water. So this how to make a connections.
Through
Just
those
on-
tunnels.
A lot of projects.
Which
not only-
facilitate routes and trade and all, yes.
I want
definitely.
to make a move from this small area to the big area. Yes, Egypt is 90% from the whole area is desert, but it's easy to make a life there. They make a new city, they make a fish farms. In Antara East, he make another one in Port Said East. He make the new authority for the mega projects of Suez Canal corridor using 6 ports, East and West Port Said, Adabiya and Sukhna, Tora and Arish. And he make another 6 industrial area, East and East Port Said, Antara East, Valley of Technology, Sukhna, Zone A and Zone B. Zone A for SMEs, Zone B for heavy industry. They
Mega
have a
projects,
plan.
yes.
They have a plan. These all projects, if you make an estimation, it need at least from 20 to 25 years. So if these all projects happen to start phase 1 and phase 2 in just only 3.5 years, we have to make a solutions for our presence. And we have to admit whatever economic to be reformed, because flotation, which is make people angry. It was the right rate for our currency for a lot of years, at least 18 or 19 years. At least.
You mean here the liberalization of the currency?
Yes.
But we'll speak about that.
Okay.
We'll not take it in one
Sure.
answer. Right. Getting back to you, Engineer Shaban, and you did not answer me about the inaugurations of today. However, let me here remind you that we were speaking about a steel factory, we were speaking about other 296 other small factories, plus a remark said by the president that he really wants to see a textile mega project. And that is, for the textile sector, is important, since the textile sector has been suffering for a long time.
Neglected for some time, yes, indeed. Well, let me just illustrate a little bit on the steel factory. This particular steel factory will bring up Egypt to rank 42 worldwide. And the president really made a joke with the owner of the factory, and he said, are you talking about second rank worldwide or 42nd rank? Actually, we will be 42nd, but this is still a very advanced rank worldwide in production of steel. And I think this particular factory is a very modern factory, and it will make Egypt self-sufficient from, from steel. Which I'm not allowed to say the name of the factory, but it was.
I already said it at the very beginning. He already. The president has already
the
announced
Bishai factory. So actually, we're very proud that the attitude even of the president is encouraging the private sector. And I've seen also the Minister of Industry and Trade also very enthusiastic about a cooperation between the government and the private sector, because private sector is the backbone of our economy, unless we admit this. Also, the president made a good remark. We take a long time in trying to renovate old factories that were neglected for some time, and we have to accelerate the programs of renovating these factories, especially the textile factories. He spoke about that. I don't have enough information about the establishment of new factories, but I'm completely aware of the fact that he will invest $1.5 billion in upgrading the textile factories. And go ahead if you have a remark.
No, I'm just want to put here a remark that once textile was the backbone of this country's revenues.
Let me just lighten you a little bit. Actually, when Talat Harb established the factories of Bank Masr in Mahalla Kubra, that was like 80 or 85 years ago. Actually, he chose the right location because the cotton fields in Delta were right next door to these factories. So the raw material was there and the factories were there, and we actually were a leading country in this industry. So why our farmers do not plant cotton anymore? Why do we import a cotton from countries that have less quality than our cotton? Go ahead.
Do we have farmers? Do we still have farmers?
We do, but actually I was the former syndicate, vice chairman of the syndicate of farmers, as you know. The farmers have a lot of demands they need the government to look into.
Yes.
For instance, let me illustrate a little bit on the cotton and the relationship between cotton and the industrialization of the cotton crop. Actually, the farmer, when he grows cotton, he wants to make sure that there is a buyer with the right price for his cotton. Unless he secures this, he will never grow cotton. He needs a buyer so he can sell, and he will know the return of his crop. Unless the government realizes this and make a plan that, yes, we will encourage the plantations, the cotton plantations, and we will buy the crop, this will never really secure enough cotton to our new factories, or the, you see. So also the president actually spoke about something very important, that the old factories are deteriorating, and we're losing like 20% of our efficiency just from the old technology and the bad machinery, like the factories of sugarcane in Upper Egypt. These factories, they're 100-year-old. They're not 80. They're 100-year-old, and indeed, we're not efficient in production of sugarcane. We're not self-sufficient, though we have the expertise. Also, I tie things together. Sugarcane requires a lot of water.
Yes.
And we're getting into an era where we're not certain that we will have enough water for this crop. And I would encourage the government to really consider having a substitution for sugarcane. There is a plant, and I'm sure that our research centers are very advanced in this, and the technology is known. It will save water, and we, as long as we're going to pay money in renovating our factories, we might as well build new factories. The name of the plant is stevia, which is higher in potential in sugar content. It's like 300% sweeter than sugar, and this will make us able to save water and upgrade our industry.
Right. Getting back to you, Dr. Shami, and we were speaking about the liberalization of the currency, but that's not the only issue that occurred during the past period. We've been speaking about many reforms that have been carried out under the instructions of the presidents, because they should have been carried out. Despite that many people say that, yes, we're suffering, yes, we are in dire situation, and yes, we are, but those were drastic steps that should have been taken long ago, and nobody dared to take such steps. So, please.
As I told you this, we have multi-problem accumulated a long time ago. System support, how much it costs in Egypt? It's almost takes 33% from your whole budget.
What do you mean by system support?
You didn't buy anything by its cost. You always take these items.
Subsidies.
Yes.
You mean subsidies that were given to much of? Yes, please.
It is 33% from the whole general budget for Egypt. We are suffering at least 41 years. We have effect in a gap between revenue and expenses.
Definitely.
Now we are over than 380 billion Egyptian pound per year. Per year. For how long we can afford this matter? We cannot do. You have defect in payment. When you have defect in your commercial balance trade, always your import more than your export in a big gap, you have always need for hot currency, correct? All this make a need to economic reform. Essential to make economic reform. Number one, flotation for the currency. It's impossible to say that our currency is equal 5 or 6 or 7 to dollars. It's not. When they start the first flotation, I believe in March 2016, and they changed it from 7 to 8.88, and after 7 months they changed it to the normal one. They start with 13 as a start rate, and after maybe 2 or 3 months we found it's 18.57. Why we do that? Because actually the official market rate is it was 8.88, but in the black market over than 16 and 17. How come? I'm a businessman. In my record, an official rate is 8.88, but actually I'm buying the dollars from black market with no document with 16 or 17 pounds. How can I cover my cost and put in my records the right value? It's impossible.
Let me get from you here an explanation, because many of people would really ask, liberalizing the currency, yes, very much indeed that we really needed to understand the real value of the Egyptian money before the dollar or the foreign currency, by all means. But also it has reflected very much on
the markets,
on exporters and more on importers, and it has reflected in a way or another on different industries. So people would like to understand why the government took the decision suddenly to carry out with such a measure. Did it has to do with the gold cover? Did it has to do with our foreign reserves? Did it has to do with trying to lessen importing luxurious issues that had no meanings? What did the government mean by doing this?
They were thinking to do a lot of procedures. But the incoming hard currency came from Suez Canal, from tourists, from our colleague, our colleague in abroad.
Yes, our expats.
Exports. What happened in 2011? Everything is coming down. Correct?
Right.
2011, before 2011, the administration in the cabinet and the government sectors and all the employees, it was cost salary 80 billion Egyptian pound per year. In 2017, it's 292,000 billion. If your income is increased and your production not increase, what does it mean? If you don't have production, does that mean that you make less money?
Definitely.
Your revenue never be improved. You don't make any developments for the way you earn your income. You have to product to get an income. That's very normal. When you talk about farmers, you ask, where is farmers? Farmers, in 40 years before, there is no technology, there is no open sky, so just only TV, 1, 2, 3 channels. So they start work from dawn to end of the day, and go to pray and stay with family for 1 hour and go to bed 9 o'clock. Now the farmer
to dusk, of course.
Now the farmer never go to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning. He start go to his field in noontime, and in just only few hours, do you think this will make the same production he made 40 years before? Of course not.
I have to
say.
So
the behaviors of our self have been changed. When you talk about the industry of textile, you have to know how many people work in this small industry of this kind of business. In a small factory, at least 750 people. Because it is not high technology, it's almost manual. But if you go to the other industry like iron, huge investment, it takes a lot of power, petrol and gas, and just only few people work in this huge investment. That's why our President Sisi was very interested about SMEs. SMEs all over the world, it covers 60% from the all employment.
And in Egypt, more than 65. And we will be speaking about this issue. Let me first, before we continue on, take this report. And during the inauguration ceremony of the developmental projects in El Sadat City, Ministers of Trade and Industry, Health and Sports spoke about the importance of the projects their sectors are carrying out there. Let's watch and we'll come back.
Minister of Trade and Industry Tariq Qabil said on Monday that during 2016-2017, industrial lands were provided in the city of El Sadat on a total area of 6.9 million meters square, pointing out that these lands are expected to attract investments amount to £7.3 billion and will provide more than 150,000 job opportunities. During his remarks on the development projects in El Sadat City, Qabil said that 4 million meters square of these lands have been offered to industrial developers from the private sector, pointing out that the past 2 years have also witnessed the opening of 79 new factories in El Sadat City, which represents 13% of the total factories opened in the city's history in the fields of chemical industries, food engineering, and electronic and construction materials. Meanwhile, Minister of Health Dr.Ahmed Rodi said that the state is focusing on opening new hospitals in the areas that are deprived of health services, adding that the state is also keen on developing the existing hospitals and establishing new ones. For his part, Minister of Youth and Sports Engineer Khaled Abdelaziz said that 4 new projects will be finished soon, including Ismailia Club, the sports city in the new administrative capital, Al Jazeera Youth Center in 6th of October City, and Al Asmarat Youth Center in cooperation with the Military Production Ministry. He also added that the total cost of the implemented project is 4 billion Egyptian pounds. And the head of the Administrative Control Authority, Muhammad Arfan, said that El Sadat City is one of the largest industrial entities, which was recently developed to exceed an annual production of volume of 66 billion pounds. Arfan also added that the country's economies are built by private sector entities along with the government's projects and achievements.
Right, welcome back to you, Engineer Shaban, and let me take just a political remark that the President said within his speech. And he spoke, or the remark was particular for our dear Sudanese and Ethiopian brothers.
Right.
And he said, we are not hostile towards anybody. We will never be hostile towards any of our brothers. And that we only want to share life. I guess these were his words, right?
Yes, we believe in developing our country, and we believe in prosperity for us and our neighbors. These were his words, actually. Egypt was never a hostile country to anybody. We just wanted to live and let live. It was our aim, actually, in all the negotiations that we went through with Ethiopia, is to draw their attention that the nature of our country is completely different from the nature of Ethiopia, where they have rain as well as a river. In our country, we depend solely on the river Nile.
Correct.
With minimum support from the underground water. And we do not mind really building this dam as long as it will help Ethiopians to develop their country. What we just wanted is to prolong the duration of the filling of the lake behind this new dam, the Renaissance Dam. We did not want the Blue Nile to cease flowing to our country, because we get the majority of our water from that particular branch of the Nile. So we're expecting the Prime Minister of Ethiopia next week, and we will welcome him with open arms, and hopefully we will reason. I was hoping maybe this is a little bit too late to it is not advisable to talk about the spilled milk, but I was hoping that Egypt and Sudan and Ethiopia would be partners in this particular Renaissance Dam, and I think that was up to us.
I guess that should have been the plan.
Right. It was
because
offered.
I guess that we as countries share the same future, our generations to come share the same future more, by the way, than Israel, for an instant.
Definitely.
And more than Turkey, who is there.
Definitely.
And Qatar.
Definitely. We do. So I mean here, yes, we share the same destiny. We have the same hopes and aspiration, right?
And nothing will change our relationship with our brothers in Sudan. Every now and then somebody comes up with this problem about Halayib. I wrote an article and I said we better change the name of Halayib to Habayib, because it's, it's as long as it's causing this headache, we might as well remind our friends in Sudan that it's all our country actually. It's just it's a name. So I don't think that Egypt means bad to anybody. We are a very peaceful country, and
we're peaceful, but we're strong.
We're tough, yes.
Getting back to what we were speaking about, and the role of mega projects. We've been speaking about what we've been carrying out of reform programs drastic reform programs that should have been carried out, and all the challenges that we've been through, and we passed all this, and now we are in the process of making mega projects, and indeed they are mega projects.
Do you know how many?
I would like to know from you.
1,337 projects, just only 3.5 years.
Mostly in infrastructure, development, I guess also services, right?
Service, finally, 2 years ago, when he started to look for the high-tech and fiber, and because you have to be with the world, to speed up with the world.
Cope up to the world, yes.
Before talking about this, I want just to add something about Sudan and Sudanese. It's money talk for the leadership of Sudan and Ethiopia. And one thing just you mentioned, if we have farmers, believe me, 2 million farmers, if we have here in Egypt, it's so simple to go to Sudan. They have a great land, rainy and water and everything. Yeah. It's virgin land. They can cover all the world, not only Sudan and Egypt. But unfortunately, we don't have farmers here in Egypt, so we can not export farmers to Sudan.
We'll have them back. We'll have
I hope
close
so.
Technology by then.
Ethiopia, it's a close country. they have no sea near.
Access to sea, yes.
So the access to sea by Port Sudan and Djibouti. And talk strictly that since the President Mubarak, ex-President Mubarak in 1995, we just say, Ethiopia, go away. So the other people, like Turkey, like Israel, like Qatar,
China.
the people, no, away of China, because China, they are investing money and labors because they have a lot of huge populations, so they are investing money and people. So they are sending their people to the whole world. But Israel, Qatar, and Turkey.
And we're speaking about other plans.
So I will answer your question very simple. Our President Sisi decided to avoid short plan and medium plan for the first period time, because if we start with short plan, we will put a lot of money for nothing. He is looking for sustain. So he make a big plan for the future. That he
Long-term
starts
plans.
for long-term plan. I believe that in the second period, he will start care about. He is going to make a return from the investment he starts, so he start caring about short period and medium period. I think it's the way. I believe it is the right way, because for the last 30 or 60 years, just we use our money for just short term. We never think about future. We start Sadat city in 1981. I believe the Mayetta port, it was in 1982. But what happened after? It's nothing. But when we make development for Port Said East port, now it's rate 39 worldwide. And we believe that less than 15 years, it will be one of 10 top ports in the world. If you look for the futures, it's much better to be good in 1 or 2 or 3 years, and after that, nothing.
And in the upcoming 3 days, there will be a conference entitled Hakayat Watan, or A Story of a Nation. And I guess many questions will be raised during those 3 days. If you want to send a question to the President, because he answers, what would be your question?
My question to the President, you've done very well in the first presidential period. I would love to see a program covering human development, because we lack human development and training. He touched a good point today when he said we establish great hospitals, but do we have the budget to run them as efficient and as qualified as we started? So we need to train people, we need to develop skills, and I hope that the President will have in his plan in the coming 4 years a human development program. We have to put in mind that all what we actually mentioned was done while we were in a war with terrorism. A war that actually the people did not feel the pressure. So I really appreciate that what we achieved, and I think the coming 4 years will be more prospective.
So your question would be, will there be a program on
for human development? Yes.
Same thing with 2 items. Loyalty. We have to get our people, bring the loyalty to their country. It's very important. The other thing is trust. We have to give your people the trust and the leadership. This is a problem. This is what happened in Japan.
But you know that that those two things are very much relevant. I mean here, if people trust their authority, their leadership, then loyalty would
If we
come
talk about
automatically.
If we talk about Japan, how they make these improvements in this small country, just read Z authority.
Yes.
It's just only loyalty and trust.
Yes, and by this we built our nations. Unfortunately, my time is out here and I have to end it here. Dr. Ahmed Shami, Economic and Feasibility Study, rather, I guess it was professor of, or rather, Economic
Transport.
of Transports and Transports and Feasibility Studies expert. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much for being with us. Engineer Hassan Shaban, Technical and Development Expert. Thank you very much for being with us and for your input. Thank you.
Thank you being there with you, Mona.
Thank you very much. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Tomorrow will be another contentious debate with another colleague. Good night.